Hey everyone, Jason here from Off the Beaten Path, and today we've got a video where we're doing the Geehi Walls Fire Trail. This is a spur of the moment trip, so we start off with some photos. As you saw on the map there, the trail goes from the Alpine Way through almost all the way to Can Cove, and there's a day use area, which is where these photos are taken from, along the Swampy Plains River. And there is a rebuilt Geehi stone hut there. And then you cross through a fairly shallow water crossing and you come into this big open area. So there's a massive camping area here. It's a really scenic valley, really well worth checking out. This is not a difficult four-wheel drive track by any stretch of the imagination, guys. You could drive this, certainly in the condition it was in when I drove it. You could drive it in an all-wheel drive, probably a two-wheel drive if you're keen. So yeah, no excuse not to go and check this one out, and it's a much nicer drive than taking the bitumen through the windy hillside. So yeah, I was actually on my way back from Tom Croggan, back towards Albury, when a friend had mentioned this to me. I thought I'd check it out, and consequently I didn't film the start of this track. There is a water crossing from the day use area into this open valley. It was quite shallow and not particularly fast flowing, and coming up here you can see the second hut just in the distance there on the right, and I wasn't actually sure whether I was supposed to drive towards that hut or take that turn off to the left there. As you can see, I slowed down there. Turns out, yeah, this track here just literally goes down to this hut, and the river actually works its way behind the hut there at the base of those hills, and you can see there's some people set up as you would be in such a cracking camping spot. So look, this valley's huge. I didn't show the whole thing in the video, obviously, so you're definitely going to have an opportunity to find a great camping spot. And there's the view back down the valley, as you can see there as we turn around, and there's the view of that particular hut. So yeah, heading back to that turn off to work our way along the fire trail. And as you saw from the map at the start, there's 4 or 5 huts, and I'm going to have to come back and explore them another time. You can probably already see it's fairly late in the day when I actually drove this, and the light was waning fast. The GoPro's done a really good job actually capturing this, because it doesn't look nearly as dark as it actually was. So as you come towards the end of the main open valley, sort of longer term camping area, you head down here back towards the river. And as I said, there's nothing particularly difficult here. I was just slowing down because, again, I wasn't 100% sure on the direction, but stayed on the main track, which is usually a good course of action, and headed back down towards the river. So there's plenty of tracks here, plenty of camping spots. You could really spend a lot of time exploring this area, not just because of the sheer number of huts that are actually in the area. So as you can see, the track looks like it's regularly graded, it's well maintained, it's generally pretty dry. Water levels were pretty low at the time that we drove this, which was just before winter. Something to note is this track is seasonally closed. As you can see here, the river's not really moving too much. That water was just crystal clear. It's actually probably deeper than it looks because it's so clear, but it wasn't what you'd call a deep crossing. It obviously doesn't get a lot of traffic. It was a lot rockier and lumpier than most of the high country crossings I've driven, but again, nothing particularly difficult at all. Yeah, very, very drivable, just slow and steady. And for the curious, yeah, look, I come off the bitumen, so I'm actually driving this at 40 psi. I didn't even let my tyres down, so it wouldn't have been as rough had I let the tyres down. So you're into this sort of second valley area here, and there's a number of little offshoots along here that lead their way to the other huts. This is actually where the fire trail track joins this track, and and on the left there, that track takes you down to another hut. So again, I wasn't 100% sure which way to go, but consulted the HEMA map, and it steered me in this direction, which proved to be correct. So once you leave the river, you do work your way up. You can see there's a gate showing that it is seasonally closed, and that's about as far as you get. There's actually a gate back in the day use area as well. So yeah, it's not particularly steep, it's not particularly difficult to drive. Really scenic though, so yeah, well worth the drive. And as you can see, as you work your way up the hill, you do end up on a fairly narrow track with a decent drop off on the side. Again, it's not a particularly difficult or dangerous track to drive. You just obviously want to stay away from that edge, and you know, had there been some oncoming traffic, it would have been pretty cozy to get past them, but it was only a certain section of the track that was sort of like this. And as you can see, you afforded some great views right down along the valley as you work your way along this section. And you can probably just catch glimpses of the river there down in the base of the valley. And yeah, another section of the Geehi Walls track there, but yeah, we continue on, heading generally west. So as you can see, look, it really is a fairly easy drive, so it'd be a great one to check out. And you could probably, you know, if you're heading to camp at the Geehi Valley camping area and you were coming from the west, you could come in the back way. If you're towing a camper trailer, assuming you've got a decent tow vehicle, I don't think you'd have any issues at all getting a reasonable off-road camper through here. None of the water crossings, certainly when I did them, were up very much at all. Yeah, not too much in the way of concerns. As you can see, we're gradually losing the light. We're sort of chasing the sun, trying to get over the ridge and keep it as visible as possible. But yeah, we're almost at the sort of 2/3 mark. So coming down here, that's where the Major Clues Fire Trail and the Major Clues Hut access comes in and joins the Geehi Walls track. So again, that was something we just would have liked to have gone and checked out, but didn't have time today. Still a good 3 hours from home and losing the light rapidly, so we pushed on. When you do come down around here, there's a little, I hesitate to call it a water crossing, but apparently it can be deeper than this at times, but today it was basically just a puddle. The guys I talked to earlier back at the other campsite said it is deeper than that sometimes, but it's never, to their knowledge, been overly deep. So as we get towards the end of the Geehi Walls track, it comes out onto some private property. So as always, guys, when you're driving on private property, be respectful, stay on the marked track, and leave the gates the way you found them. That's how we keep these tracks open when they cross private property, and that's how we don't end up with padlocks on the gates. And as I said, look, do keep in mind that this track is seasonally closed as well. So like a lot of the high country tracks, it's closed through to from the June long weekend, Queen Birthday long weekend, through till the end of October pretty much. And as you can see, reached the gate here, and it's a short run through some farmers' property there with a few more gates, and until you get to this last gate here. So yeah, look, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Like it if you liked it. Love to see your comments, and thanks to everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. Have a great day.